Hello, this is Chuck Carnevale, co-founder of FastGraphs. This video is designed to illustrate the benefit of the collect and invest dividend strategy. However, it's important to recognize that this strategy is primarily based on the principle of investing in stocks, dividend growth stocks specifically, only when they're fairly valued. The graph I have up here on Kimberly-Clark goes back to 2002, and I want you to notice that there's a lot of periods of rather high valuation for this blue chip dividend growth stock. The green dot on the graph shows when I purchased it, which was September 13th, 2010, when I took advantage of a historically relatively low valuation. Using the calculator function, you can see that that generated a 14.43% rate of return. But I'd also like to focus you on the pro rata portion of dividends that were generated. Almost $16 of dividends were generated over that period of time. Now I'd like to contrast that. Now I'm using a different time frame here, but it's the annualized rate of return I want to focus on. Investing in Kimberly-Clark during a period when the PE ratio was at 19, for example, September 31st, 2004, my total annualized rate of return is virtually cut in half to 7%. Same company, different time frame, but it's really my objective here to illustrate the power of investing at fair valuation. My second example, I'm looking at Johnson & Johnson, another blue chip dividend growth stock champion that has a legacy of having a relatively high valuation applied to its shares. Once again, I took advantage of the weakness brought on by the Great Recession and purchased this stock in April of 2009. Again, utilizing the calculator function, that allowed me to get a 12.17% annualized rate of return. And I also want to point out that I received almost the identical $16 of dividends, slightly little longer time frame here, but only by a few months. Utilizing that same high valuation concept, had I bought Johnson & Johnson when it was highly valued, my rate of return would have dropped down to 5.61%. Again, a different time frame, but the key point here is the valuation difference, or the difference in buying when a stock is at fairly valued. The way this applies to the collect and invest dividend reinvestment strategy is I own both of these companies. Kimberly-Clark has now gone into a level of high valuation, and I'm getting dividends from it each quarter at a very nice rate. And I'm actually very happy with that. However, I'm not real inclined to want to reinvest my dividends into this stock today at a PE of 20.4, blended PE of 20.4, which means I have to pay $20 to buy every share, or every dollar's worth of earnings. In contrast, Johnson & Johnson was overvalued just like Kimberly-Clark for most of 2014. However, its price has now fallen to where I can buy this between a 15 and 16 PE ratio, meaning I only have to pay $15 to buy a dollar's worth of their earnings. So in the case of how it applies to the collect and invest strategy, I'd rather collect my Kimberly-Clark dividends and choose to reinvest them in a fairly valued stock like Johnson & Johnson rather than buy more Kimberly-Clark at current high prices. Collect and invest can work, but it does take work, it does take research, it does take time, and emotions get involved. In contrast, a DRIP program, dividend reinvestment plan, puts you on automatic pilot and takes advantage of the benefits of dollar cost averaging. Both strategies work quite well. It's up to you to decide which one you like best. Nevertheless, the purpose of this video was simply to illustrate how a collect and invest strategy can be utilized and applied to generate higher rates of return over the long run.